The night wind howled across the plains, carrying the scent of rain and dust. The sky was heavy with storm clouds as thunder rumbled far in the distance. Inside the old McAllister barn, the scent of hay mixed with the faint sweetness of apple blossoms that drifted from the nearby orchard. The horses shuffled uneasily in their stalls, sensing the storm coming. Then suddenly the barn door creaked open, and a group of drunken voices echoed through the darkness. Laughter, ugly, sharp, and cruel. A lantern swung in one man's hand as he shoved something, or rather someone inside. "Let's see if your cowboy friend still plays the hero." One of them jeered. The others laughed louder, their shadows dancing on the barn walls before the door slammed shut and the lock clanged into place. Silence. Then, a soft sob. From the far corner, a figure stirred, a tall, broad-shouldered man in a faded hat leaning against a beam. His name was Cole Hartley, a rancher known across 3 counties as a man who didn't talk much but worked harder than anyone alive. He wasn't supposed to be there. The town boys thought he'd gone to the ridge for supplies, but he'd returned early, driven by the storm brewing on the horizon. When the laughter died and the hoofbeats faded, he lit his lantern, revealing the trembling figure on the barn floor, a young woman, her dress torn, her wrists raw from rope. Mud streaked her face and fear filled her eyes like water in a breaking dam. "Who did this to you?" Cole's voice was low, steady, like thunder that hadn't yet struck. She looked up at him, tears cutting through the dirt on her cheeks. "They said it was just a joke," she whispered, her voice breaking. "They didn't mean—" She stopped, her body shaking. Cole knelt beside her, cutting the ropes with his knife. "A joke?" he repeated, his jaw tightening. "Ain't nothing funny about fear." The wind outside grew wild, slamming the shutters. Cole wrapped his coat around her shoulders and helped her to her feet. She was shivering, cold, exhausted. "You're safe here," he said. But even as he spoke, the sound of hooves returned, the same voices, the same laughter. They had come back. "Let's fetch our little prank," one of them shouted through the rain. Bet the cowboy found himself a surprise. Cole's eyes darkened. He moved to the barn door, sliding the wooden bar into place. "Stay back," he told her. "No one's taking you anywhere." The door rattled as fists pounded against it. "Open up, Hartley," someone demanded. "She ain't yours." Cole's voice came low and firm through the storm. "She ain't yours either." The rain fell harder now, drumming on the tin roof. Inside, the horses snorted and stomped, restless. Cole grabbed his rifle from the wall, the metal glinting in the lantern light. His heart pounded, not from fear but fury. He'd seen what these boys did when they got drunk on whiskey and power. He'd seen them humiliate, break, and destroy for sport. But this time they'd crossed a line. "You're making a mistake, cowboy," one of them yelled. "Step aside or we'll come in and take her." Cole raised the rifle. "You step 1 foot in this barn," he warned, "and I'll send you back to town in pieces." The men outside hesitated. Even through the rain, they could hear the cold truth in his tone. This wasn't bluster. Cole Hartley didn't bluff. Inside, the girl, whose name he still didn't know, watched him with wide eyes. "Why are you doing this for me?" she asked, her voice trembling. He turned to her for a moment. "Because someone should have done it a long time ago," he said simply. The words hit her like a prayer. For the first time in a long while, she felt safe. The kind of safety that doesn't come from walls or locks, but from someone who means it. The storm outside roared, but inside something new was building, a quiet defiance. Then a crash. A window shattered as one of the men tried to climb through. Cole fired a warning shot into the air. The blast echoed across the valley, and the intruder fell back, cursing. "Next one won't miss," Cole growled. "Go home." For a long moment there was silence. Then the sound of retreating hooves faded into the rain. Cole lowered the rifle slowly, breathing out. "They'll be back," she whispered. "They don't forgive humiliation." Cole gave her a small, grim smile. "Then they'll get used to losing." When dawn finally broke, the storm had passed. The valley shone with a golden light. The world washed clean. Cole poured her a cup of coffee and handed it to her near the open barn doors. "You got a name?" he asked. She hesitated, then said softly, "Lydia." He nodded. "You're safe here, Lydia. You can stay as long as you need." She looked out toward the hills, her eyes filling with tears, not of fear, but of gratitude. "They'll come for me again," she said. "They always do. People like them, they don't stop." Cole looked out too, his gaze hard and calm. Then they'll have to go through me. By midday, the town had heard what happened. Some called him a fool for crossing the local gang. Others called him brave. But Cole didn't care about talk. He was out mending fences, feeding his cattle, and keeping watch. Every time Lydia looked out from the porch, she saw him working under the sun, steady, silent, unyielding. Days turned into weeks. She began to heal. She laughed again, cooked meals, tended to the horses. The fear in her eyes faded, replaced by something stronger. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, Cole found her painting the barn door. A bright red heart, small but defiant. "It's a thank you," she said shyly, "for not letting them take me." Cole smiled faintly. "Ain't nobody taking what's rightfully safe." But peace in the West never lasted long. One night, smoke rose from the valley. The gang was back, torches in hand, rage in their eyes. They came not just for her, but for the man who made them look weak. Cole saw them from a mile away. He saddled his horse, loaded his rifle, and rode straight into the firelight. "You're not welcome here," he told them. The leader spat on the ground. "She's ours." Cole shook his head slowly. "Not anymore." What followed was chaos, gunfire, shouting, hooves thundering in the dark. But when the smoke cleared, Cole still stood. The men who had mocked and tormented now fled like cowards. The valley was silent once more. When Cole rode back, bloodied but alive, Lydia ran to him, tears streaking her face. "You didn't have to do this," she cried. He took off his hat and looked at her gently. "Yeah, I did," he said. "Sometimes you stand up once and it changes everything." She touched his hand, trembling. "Then maybe you just saved more than me." That night, as the stars returned to the sky and the wind softened over the plains, the barn that once held her prisoner now stood as a symbol of something stronger. Hope, courage, and the kind of decency that's almost forgotten. Cole sat on the porch watching the horizon. Lydia brought him coffee, and for the first time in a long while, both of them smiled without fear. And somewhere, out beyond that horizon, justice rode quietly beside them.